5%.
What's up, disciplined investor?
We got Benzinga CEO Jason Raznick here with us.
The man, the myth, the legend, Tom Nash.
Peter Schiff on the Power Hour with us live today. Interesting, different, unique, innovative companies. Mia, you are live with us on the Power Hour. What's up?
Thank you so much for inviting me on.
Jessica Billingsley is the CEO of Akerna, the best trade idea resource out there. Yo, what's up, everybody? Happy Monday. Monday. We are back at it. It's lunchtime if you're on Eastern time. It's breakfast time if you're on Pacific time. And if you're on Mountain time or Central time, you are somewhere stuck in between. Maybe snack time is what we will call it. But what's up, everybody? How are we doing? Big day today. Jam-packed show. We've got some special guests coming on. But before we get to that, I'm going to start today the way that I start every single day, which is to remind you guys what the point of this show is. We want this to be the best trade idea resource out there. That's what we're going for, guys. So if you're not getting ideas from myself, from our guests, from Jason, or your fellow chatters, call us out. You have tools to call us out, right? You can't say you're helpless and, I'm just watching these guys and they're wasting my time. You have Twitter, you have the chat, you have whatever you want, and say, guys, we need to step it up. Yes, young investor in the chat's asking, should he come on? Yes. I think that's today's a good day. Young investor, I'm going to DM you a link. All right. There we go. That's called planning on the fly. But all right. I told you what the point of the show is, which is that this is the trade idea resource, on the radar for today. We're going to talk about earnings, right? We are in the best week of earnings of the quarter. So basically I'm going to give some thoughts on earnings, how I play these stocks, how I adjust my portfolio, etc. We're going to do a chat challenge. If you don't know what chat challenge is, we're competing for some prizes. We're basically asking the group, everybody out there, we're all jumping into one big shared Google sheet and trying to pick the best stock of the week. We're going to have a guest coming to us from IG Markets, talk currency, talk commodities, instruments that we don't typically talk about. 1 o'clock Eastern, Vuzix, ticker VUZI, Vuzi, CEO Paul Travers is going to be joining us on here. Hot stock. If you haven't seen the chart of that one, let me pull it up. VUZI, this will be the first screen share of the day. Let's say share your screen. Let's look at this one. Boom. All right, I know it's small. We'll make it bigger. All right, there we go. Check this out. 1 year chart of Vuzi right there, right? You see a thing running from sub 2 to 25. So we're gonna get to know that company, ask about some timelines, etc. And of course, we always make time for tickers out of the chat. So go ahead, drop your tickers in there. Already on the radar today, of course, we have Tesla. Benzinga CEO Jason Raznick is going to be joining us in about an hour. He is the Tesla expert of the group. So he'll be sharing some thoughts there. I'm going to roll my sleeves up as I think it's time for us to just dig into this. Really good question out of the chat. From Mr. Future History is asking young investor if he'll still be called a young investor 50 when he's over 50 years old. I think so. Young in spirit. That's my opinion. Okay. But all right, let's start today off with talking about earnings. As I mentioned at the top of the show, this is the best of the quarter. I'm going to go ahead and share this nice little earnings graphic we make here at Benzinga for everybody. All right. Check this out. So here are the earnings that we have on the docket for the week. I'll go ahead. I'll drop this link in the chat so everybody has it. You can check it out. Save it, pin it, whatever it needs to be. Set it as your desktop background. Let's zoom into today in particular. The big one today, really the only one that's on my radar, is Tesla. Of course, I think a little bit on everybody's radar. Let's go ahead and talk about how we're playing earnings this week. So whenever we are in a heavy earnings week, right? I mean, we've got all the brand name companies are reporting this week. We have our Apples, we have our Spotify's, McDonald's, Amazon, Twitter, right? The list goes on and on. There's several hundred. At last check, I think there's about 800 companies, 800 stocks or so that are going to be reporting earnings this week. There's three things that I absolutely implore you. I implore everybody in the investment community to be on top of when it comes to earnings. Three things. Okay. The first one, it's really simple. The simplest of all of them. Know when your stock is reporting earnings. Okay. I hate when people are hanging out, they own a stock, they have a bull thesis on it, or let's make it even worse. It's not a long-term hold. Let's say you hold a stock for a swing trade. The chart looks good. It's riding above your 9 EMA, whatever it may be, right? You're hitting this thing for a swing trade, and then boom, earnings hit after hours. The stock misses. They announce an offering. The CEO's leaving. The CFO is going to jail, whatever. The stock opens down 50%, right? That trade that you were hoping to make 10 to 15% on just wiped out, 8 winners that you were hoping to have. So first things first, know when your stocks are reporting earnings. Nice little advantage that I have is my trusty Benzinga Pro. Check this out. We have an earnings calendar here, and I actually filter it down to my watch list. I have a watch list called Current Holdings. And so check this out. I can see when the earnings are coming up for all the stocks that I own. So for me, it gets hot and heavy tomorrow after the close. I've got 1, 2, 3 stocks that I own that are reporting earnings after the close tomorrow, and I'll give you guys opinions on how I'm playing all of those stocks into earnings before we're done today. So don't worry about that. But again, if you haven't tried Benzinga Pro yet, pro.benzinga.com, 2-week free trial. There's literally not any better time to try it than into earnings week, because again, you're not going to be cut off guard. So like I said, I implore everybody to follow these 3 pieces of advice into these heavy earnings weeks. One is, if you're holding a stock, you better know when that earnings date is. Because again, you don't want a swing trade that you're hoping to make 10% off of to open up down 50%, and it wipes out 3 months of trading profits that you had. Okay, so there's number one. Rule number 2, know how the peers reported. Know how the peer stocks reported. And I've got a really good example of this in the live portfolio. So here's my brokerage account right here, right? My real brokerage account. All right, there's the account number. It says don't show that, but I've got like 19 factor auth. But check this out. I'm scrolling down to the L's. So here's my example that I'm going to use. Where are the L's at? L. There it is. Leslie's. So I own Leslie's Calls, and Leslie's is likely going to be reporting earnings later this week. Last week, we had a similar company, a peer company, put out their numbers. Okay. So I'm going to look at ticker POOL. Pool, it's a competitor to Leslie's. They're both in the same space. They sell pools, equipment, chemical supplies, whatever it may be to operate your pool. Both of these companies offer them. Pool, the similar company, reported a monster earnings beat. Okay, Pool reported $2.32 versus a $1.15 estimate. They reported sales of $1.06 billion versus an 823% estimate, so 25% over the sales estimate. That is a monstrous number. I love that. All right, we're just playing around with the soundboard today. So I love that for the earnings report. That makes me more convicted for Leslie's into the Leslie's report, which I currently hold. So know how the group has reported. Right. If you own Snapchat and Twitter reports shitty numbers or vice versa, it's actually Snapchat reported good numbers. You own Twitter. You're trying to trade Twitter. Generally speaking, it means that Twitter will have a good report. But here's the third rule to keep in mind. Look at how your stock moved off of those peer reports. If your stock gets run way up because a peer company already reported strong earnings numbers, the jig already may be up. In those cases, I oftentimes, right? So if I own Leslie's, Pool reports strong numbers. Leslie's runs way up on that, 10, 15%. I'm going to get out of the trade because now the bar is set so high for Leslie's to even outperform where Pool was, that even if they report a good quarter, that's not great. The stock could get hammered out on it. And I want to get rid of that volatility, especially since we're getting these numbers in extended hours. So again, guys, the 3 rules that I have into these big earnings weeks. 1, know when your stocks have earnings. Do not miss those days. 2, know how the peers reported. Let that be an indication for how your stock is going to report. And number 3, know how your stock to move off of those peer plays. Right? If the stock's already moved way up or way down, the move already may be in. So I implore you guys, it's earnings week. Do not let a bad earnings report blow out your whole portfolio. A lot of people trade around these positions. They'll hedge some stocks, with options into these. Let me ask this. Would it be helpful to do a live example of hedging a stock position with options into an earnings report? If so, drop the 1 in the chat. If that would not be helpful, drop the 2. This is your guys' power hour, so we let you do what you want. But again, I don't want anybody to get blown out. Boom. All right. So next up, I'm going to bring on a very special guest of ours. There's all the ones. Okay. All right. You guys have ones. So we're doing it tomorrow. I got to get ready. I got to pick the stock, pick the options contract. All right. We're doing a hedging tutorial tomorrow. That's the move, guys. Let's go. All right. It's written down on this notepad. If you are new to this channel, new to the show, hit subscribe tomorrow, 12 o'clock Eastern time. Be here or be square. We will do an example of hedging a stock position, a long-term stock position into a report with options. So don't miss that. But I want to go ahead, bring on our favorite guest, a favorite of the chat, our young investor. Let's get him hanging out on the stream with us. All right.
Hello, are you all right, Luke?
How you doing, man? I'm doing great.
I'm doing good. What about yourself?
Doing well. It's Monday. We have a big week. I love these earnings weeks. They're fun, right? I'm a news junkie. There's plenty of news these weeks. What's up with you?
Yeah, I'm doing well. My side of the pond, talk up when you stock today, and I'm happy to be on.
Awesome. All right, you said you have a new stock for us?
Yeah, brand new stock.
All right.
So,
and for those of you, wait, let me do an intro, okay? Let me build some hype. Is that all right?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. I have a button I have not pressed on the soundboard yet. It's called Dramatic Suspense. Okay, let's check this one out. All right. For those of you who aren't aware, our young investor, he is our stock picking prodigy, officially 13 years old as of about a month ago. And when I say he's a stock picking prodigy, it's not like he's saying I own an iPhone, so I'm going along Apple, and that's where the story ends. I mean, he's finding stocks that none of us know about. He's digging deep. He's talking to investor relations. He's talking to the CEOs. He's digging through SEC filings, etc. How's that for an intro?
Yeah, that's brilliant. Do you want me to get right into it then?
Let's get right into it.
So the stock I'm talking about today is SGBX, ticker symbol SGBX.
SGBX. Okay, I don't know this one. Let me add it back on. All right, there's the chart on the screen.
Yeah.
There's 2 days. Let's zoom out to a 1-year chart. Okay, there's been some volatility in this one. Tell us about the company. I've never heard of this.
So initially, I got into this company about, 4 or 5 months back, and I sold around like the $5 to $6 range, a nice profit around 50%. So, recently I just thought, for some reason, it sprang into my mind SGBX, and I thought, let's have a revisit, see what the team at SGBX is up to, and then really, went there, and I was really surprised about what I found. So basically, SGBX are taking shipping containers, all these shipping companies throw away so many shipping containers every year. It's dreadful for the environment. Most of them just end up in scrapyards, effectively worthless. So the SGBX are taking these effectively worthless shipping containers, very little cost for each one of these, and converting them to homes, commercial premises. They've done ones for Taco Bell, Puma. They built an NBA academy out of shipping containers for the NBA. So they are converting these shipping containers into all kinds of different structures. I mean, if you go on the website, if you click on, I think it's,
yes, that's amazing.
Go on our product and see what they're making. As you see there, if you just have a look around, they are really making these places. And the thing I love about them is they actually look nice. It's not one of these things that all look hastily put together. It also takes about 1/3 less time to make one of these shipping containers into a home. They've got over a $25 million backlog. So in the investor presentation from December 2020, they said they would deliver just around under $5 million for the fiasco year of 2020. They just announced the Q4 results for 2020, and they made approximately $7.4 million in revenue. So they are obviously a very conservative company, putting super conservative projections. They made the whole projection right there in revenue in the fourth quarter, part of that really scaling up process. and that meant they have around $8.8 million in the whole of revenue for 2020 and for 2020. They said in the investor presentation they would aim for about $20 million in revenue this year. By the way, the company's valued at around $31 million, 400% year-over-year growth at that kind of market cap. It's very attractive to me. But if
Was this a SPAC deal?
No, this is not a SPAC deal. This company's been around for a little bit now. But basically, they have been able to. By the way, this is a company where you've got a lot of penny stocks these days. Extreme debt, extreme risk. This is $0 in debt, 30 million market cap, 29 million in assets, 13 million in cash and equivalents. This has got company's got a ton of assets and cash ready to deploy when they need to. You do not have the fear of having a massive dilution anytime soon for the stock. With that 25 million backlog they got right now, I mean, as I just said, if you times 7.4 million quarterly revenue for the fourth quarter of 2020, let's say that revenue remains flat for the whole of 2021. That's around $30 million, around 29 million in revenue for this year, 31 million market cap, and they're looking at around 400% year-over-year growth they're projecting. Do the math yourself. This company's extremely undervalued to me. Honestly, I've been doing all DCF projections. If you was an empire, 15 million amount of revenue, this company destroys it. They do rubbish. You know, they do a terrible job. Everything fails at SGBX. This company is still dramatically undervalued at 30 million market cap. They're still growing at 200% year over year, and they've got a really good amount of cash. To me, it's a win-win scenario for this company. And they've also worked with so many customers, let's say Starbucks, Puma. They've converted all these stores, all these homes, and they also work with every branch of the US military.
Okay, so all right. For those of us who are just joining us, this is the Stock Idea Show. That's what the Power Hour is all about. Lightning. All right, young investor just dropped us a new one, ticker SGBX. The company is called SGBX. So young investor, let me try to talk back through this one and clarify me where I'm wrong, okay?
Yep, go right ahead.
All right, so basically what the company does is they buy old containers, old shipping containers that are basically out of service from like the big boats or trains or whatever that they were running on. Is that correct? That's step one. Yeah. Okay. They then repurpose these containers into facilities. It looks like residential, commercial, retail, etc. Is that accurate?
Yeah, so they converted to, Puma stores, Starbucks, different kind of areas that US military could use. They basically convert these to anything, which customers ask for.
Here's the Starbucks. We have it up on the screen now. That used to be old containers. Now it's a building. Yeah,
I mean, some incredible partnerships as well. You don't see many penny stocks of this kind of partnership. And in my opinion, this kind of a financial position, I think it's rare to find something like this at such a low market cap.
Okay. And then the company has a $30 million market cap. Is that accurate?
Yeah, 31 million.
31 million market cap. You said in 2020 they did 25 million of sales. Is that accurate?
Okay, so now going into 2021, they've got a $25 million backlog. So in 2020, they did about 8.8 million in revenue. In the fourth quarter, they did 7.4 million. So as you can see, they're really trying to ramp up.
When do they count revenue? Is that when they deliver the final building to the customer?
Deliver. It's delivering to the customer. Customers using it now, creating the Starbucks, creating your Puma store, whatever that may be.
So they did 8.8 million in total in 2021, and 7 million of that was in Q4. Is that accurate?
Yeah, so 8.8 million for the whole of 2020, and then 7.4 in the fourth quarter of 2020. This year, I think we're looking around 30 million and 29 million in revenue, just timing 7.4 by 4. It equals around 29 million. Yeah. Which I mean,
but they have 25 million of backlogs. Do they give us an ETA as to when they expect to work through that backlog?
They're aiming to do it all by 2022. That's very 2022. But they say they can deliver it this year. Honestly, we've just seen, in my opinion, they're already ramping up really, dramatically. We've seen that with the amount of revenue they've really produced in Q4. They've gone from like 1 million a quarter to over 7.4 million in one quarter. And I don't think that growth is going to slow down anytime soon. I will just say, some people saying that, they were $100 back in, I don't know, it's like 2019. I will say with that, you'll see a lot of these penny stocks, there's a ton of them, Nano Dimension. Basically, they're part of larger companies which have the share price, they spin them off and they all break apart. So it's a teensy bit of the revenue, but for some reason, the stock price is still going to count as $100 on these sites. So I would just say with these penny stocks, you've got to come into it and looking into the business as it is right now.
Okay. And then let's talk about cash.
Yeah.
You said that they don't have debt on the books.
$0 of debt.
Okay, but how much cash do they have, and what is their cash flow? Like, I'm getting to, is there offering risk?
Yeah. So they've got $13 million in cash.
1.3?
Yeah, 1.3.
Okay.
And they've got around 20. So what they said in the Q4, they've got around $29 million in assets right now. Obviously for a company at 31 million, market cap's been pretty extraordinary. So great financial position. I will say they are kind of gross profit. They've got positive gross profit, but overall they are negative. They've got a negative about $1 a share, but I think that's approximately like 1.2 million for total loss in the quarter. So they've got plenty of cash and assets to deal with any quick orders which may come up anytime soon. I really like what the management. I will say one of the risks is. Peter Lynch says never think of this as a risk. I'll say this: the management don't own a ton of the company. I will just say that. So I would say the management aren't super heavily invested. They're not on the highest pay either. But I will say that there is not a huge insider ownership. So you do have the risk of most of the shares being on the public and having a big float rather than a load being held by institutions.
Yeah, and cash seems pretty good. So in order for them to achieve profitability, do you have an idea as to how much scale they need? Like, is it 10x where they're at right now? Is it if they hit that 2021 number, they're going to start being cash flow positive? Any ideas there?
Yeah, so in 2021, if you can hit around 20 million, which was forecasted, they're obviously going to go higher than that just from Q4. You could just maybe start to get near break even. I would say around the 30 million in revenue, 32, then you start coming cash flow positive, and then you're ordering so much bulk, in the products, then you're going to start seeing profitability in this company. 7.4, as I said, times 4 quarters, using 2020, revenue stays flat. Then you've got 29 million in revenue right then, 20 million in the last investor presentation. So you're looking at a company which is going to have a huge earnings beat, really just by map alone, and not even taking into account any growth in 2021.
Okay. And last question, do we have an earnings date?
Yeah, so we just announced earnings for Q4 2020 just recently at the start of this month. I'm not quite sure when the next one is, so they've already done it recently, and that's where I got the 7.4 one from.
Okay. All right, I like this one. All right, I think I'm going to hit this one. I'm going to throw this one out to ZingerNation. If you guys like this stock, this SGBX, I'm a fan of it. I think it's super interesting. It's trading at one-time sales, not much of an offering risk. It's got a great story, right? The whole container ship, hipster, reuse thing, great story. But I'm throwing this one out to the community. If you guys like this one, hit the 1. If you don't like it, hit the 2 and tell us why. I'm curious where everybody's at with this. But young investor, let me ask you, how do you find these stocks? Like every time that you come on this show, you're always mentioning, like, what was the Chinese or like the Southeast Asian one?
Peak Fintech.
Peak Fintech. Yes. How do you find these stocks that like nobody's ever heard of except for you?
Yeah, I find them like everywhere. One of the stocks I was researching the other day, skipped on. It was something like I was just researching. It's a very small company, and I was actually looking at App Harvest the other day, just checking after hours float. I use that on StockPits just because my broker won't tell me what after hours was, and somebody went, "Oh, why is this company way cheaper? The other company's involved in the cannabis field or something." But yes, I just find it everywhere. People tell me about stocks sometimes. I will always remember this one person told me about that Vuzix, the glasses one at $4. Didn't do any research into it. Things are like $30 now. But yeah, I find it everywhere. People recommend them to me with Peak. I found it through one of the groups I was a member of. It's only about 10 people, but one of them was they were talking about Peak. So obviously I do some research into Peak, find out about Peak, dig through some SEC filings. SGBX, can't quite remember. This was like months back.
Okay.
As I said, this time round
did you get into it months back, or you've been watching it for a while and now you made the decision to get into it?
Yeah, so months back, I was in this stock around the $4 range, $4.40. The stock ran up to $8. I sold around $6. A nice profit in about 2 months owning the stock. And I had the flare the other day. It just came into my mind for some reason. I remembered SGBX. Now I just went to have a look at the company and I was like, I was astounded about what they've done so far. Far surpassing my revenue projections, which I was planning, months back.
Okay. All right. And then how is life in the UK? I
Yeah.
remember last time you were on, you said you need to get a COVID test every single day at school. Is that still the case?
Yeah.
What's up?
Yeah, so I do COVID tests. I had a vaccine today. Not for
Which
COVID.
one? Which one?
Honestly, I got no clue. I just had a random vaccine. It's not COVID. I think it was something like I can't even remember. It's like it begins with a H and ends with an I. Yes, I had a vaccine today.
Wait,
Yeah,
it was a
honestly,
COVID vaccine or was just like some random like flu
it's a random
shot?
vaccine at school.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe polio, who knows? All
Not
right.
polio. It's not polio. I think
It's not polio, okay.
It might be the three different diseases in one jab. I'm not quite too sure.
Boom. Okay. But you're still getting tested every day.
Yeah, still getting tested.
Can
2
you still
times a week.
smell? You didn't lose your sense of smell?
Not yet, but
Okay, good.
it's definitely always sore up on the nose. Now just a little bit more every time I take it up. Always sneeze constantly as soon as I've taken a COVID
Wait,
test.
let me just. All right. Well, last thing, and then we'll get back to stocks in a second. But like logistically, how does that work? So I'd imagine there's several hundred to 1,000 plus kids at your school.
Yep.
Like, does it take half the day to do this with everybody, or what's the deal?
Yeah, so first 2 weeks back at school after the third lockdown, it was 2 weeks at school COVID tests, and now it's 2 at home, so you've got to take them at home. So you've got to take these, take them all out, say what the instructions do, and then test them all, see what the like white strip says, where the line is. So yeah, that's what I'm using right now. So that's 2 at home a week. So yeah.
Okay. All right. And then let me ask you this last one, we have to move on. But any words of wisdom into this big earnings week that we have? I know you're long Tesla into it. I don't know if you have anything
44% Tesla at this moment.
44% of your portfolio is Tesla?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, 44%. Obviously, I think it's know what you own. If you're investing in the company and they've got let's say they miss on revenue by a ton, it doesn't turn out like you'd expected. Now, I wouldn't say just paper hand sell it, not financial advice, but don't go paper hand mode and sell it unless there's something which fundamentally has changed. And I just say keep on top of everything. I mean, I've only got a few companies in my portfolio, so I like keeping on top of it all. Just have one question in chat there. How do you keep trading during school hours? Well, I live in the UK, so about 2:30 is when the market opens, 3 o'clock's when the school finishes. So, I've basically got a whole day to basically trade and do my
One last lightning blast. Cool.
boom.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, I appreciate you coming on. Will you give us the YouTube and the Twitter so people can stay in touch?
So Twitter is Young Investor 2 and YouTube is Young Investor.
And one day we're going to get you Young Investor 1. If you need help with that, let us know.
Yeah. Last time I checked Young Investor 1, it was an Arabian person who's never tweeted before. And the one tweet was from 2014. Yeah.
So ZingerNation will figure that one out. Don't worry.
Yeah. If you're watching, I'll give you $10.
Boom. There it is. $10. I'm going to double it. $20 reward. That's yours for taking.
Yeah. That will buy you a nice Lamborghini. I'm joking. Maybe a McDonald's. Maybe a few McDonald's.
Yeah. A fractional share of Tesla.
Yeah. Fractional share of Tesla.
Awesome, man. Thanks for coming on and hanging out.
Thanks so much for having me on, Luke. And make sure you all smash the like button for Benzinga. Subscribe to the channel. I think we've seen it across the board recently with all the finance channels. Ever since the correction, views have been dipping across the board. So Benzinga really needs to pump out that algorithm right now as all the finance channels. So smash that like button for them down below and subscribe to the channel. 100,000 subs for Benzinga soon.
Boom. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me on again, Luke.
Absolutely. All right, guys. How about that? Boom. I tell you guys up top, this is the Trade Idea Show. I already talked about earnings. My 3 rules for trading earnings. If you missed them, rewind, or maybe we'll recap them a little bit. Plus my earnings play. We just got a new stock out of Young Investor, SGBX. Coming up on the show, we're about to talk a little bit of macro markets a little bit. 1 o'clock Eastern, Vuzix, ticker Vuzi, CEO is going to be joining us. And of course, we are going to do our chat challenge where ZingerNation is basically going head to head. The question of the week, I'll give you a preview, is going to be, what is the best performing earning stock going to be? That's the question, guys. So be ready for that one. But without further ado, I want to go ahead, bring our next guest onto the screen. All right, guys, we are joined by Todd Rich, head of content and education at IGUX US. Todd, thanks so much for joining us today. How are you doing?
Oh, awesome. Phenomenal. The best. I've got both doses of the vaccine in me. I'm ready to get the hell out of the house.
All right, what'd you get?
I got Pfizer. You take what
Pfizer?
you can get. Yeah, you just whatever they're going to give you, take what you can get.
Where in the country are you?
I am in the mid. I'm in Chicago. I'm in the Midwest.
Okay, all right. In Detroit, we have excess vaccines, so I think you can actually sort of pick. Like there's so many openings that it's like, all right,
yeah.
This one's got the Pfizer, this one's got the Moderna. Sign up for what you want to.
Yeah, that's right now in Chicago. I actually had to go out to the suburbs. I was this close to making a run to Indiana or Michigan to get one because there was just too much demand in Illinois and not enough. But it's opened up. It's definitely opened up.
Okay. Awesome. Well, but before we dive into markets, can you just give us a little bit of your background and tell us a little bit about IG?
Oh, for real. One, I'm a former floor trader. I got my MBA out of UCLA back in the 90s and then took that diploma, chucked it in the trash can, and stood on the trading floors for a decade here in Chicago. Came off the trading floors and went to work for the exchanges. Deutsche Börse, spent some time with Eurex, if you're familiar with futures, out of Frankfurt, Germany, a global exchange. Went to work for Boston Options Exchange, then the New York Stock Exchange for a number of years. Left the New York Stock Exchange for retail. Really took an interest in retail traders and ended up in what became E-Trade. Options House got bought by E-Trade and then left there as they sold E-Trade to Morgan Stanley. Now, over at IG, if you haven't heard of IG, it is a very large global brokerage out of London. Globally, Asia, Europe, really big in the foreign exchange markets, but offers access to everything. But in the United States, IG has had a small footprint with a little publication called Daily FX. And then it's also got Nadex, which is where I spend most of my time. And by the way, you're all retail traders. If you aren't familiar with Nadex, we're going to have to talk about that because it's a smaller exchange designed for retail traders. If you haven't, it's the premier binary options call spread knockouts exchange in the United States. And it offers access not just because I know everyone's going, oh, those guys are foreign exchange. IG is definitely foreign exchange, but IG has got a small RFED, a retail foreign exchange desk in the United States, but they just spent $1 billion and are buying
with a B.
Tastyworks.
With a B. Wait, hold on. Let's be dramatic, okay?
Billion.
Ready? Wait, hold on.
1 billion.
All right, what did you buy for $1 billion?
Tastyworks, Tasty Trade. You're probably familiar with them. It's the same crew, Tom Sosnoff. They built Thinkorswim, sold it to TD Ameritrade, went and built another retail brokerage with a media entity behind it as well, designed for. So you probably heard of Tasty. IG's making they're placing a stake in the ground. They're coming to the United States, and with the Tasty acquisition and Nadex. If you don't know Nadex, go to nadex.com. If you are looking for short-term price action, equity indices, commodities, which right now, I know you guys are talking about individual stocks, but the commodities, right? I mean, we're going into a season right now where gold and oil, if you're not taking a look at those markets, you're missing out. I mean, that's with inflation, interest rates, the Fed making policy changes, the economy recovering. It's those markets are ripe for volatility, and Nadex has got some. And you know what binary options are, by the way.
But
you probably don't know it.
I was going to actually say,
what the heck's a binary option?
How binary options work?
A binary option is just it's a yes or no question. Will gold be above 1780 in the next 2 hours? or will it be above 1780 at the end of the day? Yes or no? Will crude oil finish the day above $62 a barrel? Yes or no? So you're probably familiar with yes or no. I don't really want to equate it to this, but the analogy works. Will the Bears beat the Packers? Yes or no? And our binary options, they're all $100 contracts. So everything it's throughout the day you can trade it. And since they're all small, they're for retail traders. You bet 20 to potentially make 80. You know what your risk is going into it. You know what you could potentially make. I bet 50 to make 50. It's always going to add up to 100. And the cool thing is, you can trade out of them. Unlike the analogy I used before, but let's just go with oil. I like oil early in I'm going to take a look at oil. What it's been doing lately is it's been making a move over the European session and completely retracing during the US session. People could hate oil early in the day. Sell. But then when the US trader comes online, it's buy. You can actually trade these binary options back and forth throughout the day. I can not like oil. I could sell these binary options looking for them to head towards zero. And then at halftime, I know that it's going to come back, and start buying them back and then go long them. So trading those binary options. We also have knockouts and call spreads, which are, if you have options traders, I know you're going to talk about hedging a position tomorrow, which I think is slick. That's actually where I come from, is the equity options world. Okay. That's what I did at E-Trade. That's what I traded on the floor. I think it's fantastic to use options. But if you're not familiar with those concepts, you can get into these markets like crude oil or gold or foreign exchange markets or the indices, the NASDAQ, the S&P 500, the Russell 2000, the Dow Jones, and you can trade them, and they're predefined risk reward contracts. So you know what you could potentially make, what you could potentially lose. And if you have some of those surprises, which you were talking about earlier, you don't want to blow up because of our contracts are pretty small. Notionally, but because they're defined risk reward, everything's fully collateralized. There's never a margin call. You can never lose more than what you initially put into the trade.
And a question that's coming out of the chat about those that I think is interesting. Is it peer-to-peer trading? Is there a market maker involved? How exactly does that work?
We definitely have market makers to keep the screens lit.
Okay.
But we are a proper exchange. We're regulated by the CFTC for our binary options, call spreads, knockouts. So we have the same rules and regulations, say, that the CME have, or that ICE, who owns the New York Stock Exchange, has. We have market makers lighting up the screen, but we have a central limit order book. So if I want to put a bid between the bid-ask spread or an offer between, I can. I can expose my order to the market. Someone might want to trade with me. So there's a depth of view book as well, but it's anyone can trade with anyone. I could put a bid below or in between. I could put an offer above or in between.
Okay.
So it's and volumes have been off the hook. I mean, we have absolutely exploded with retail traders coming into the markets. We've had a ton of retail traders, particularly new folks, because the defined risk reward. If you wanted to try and test out some of these markets, you want to try to trade. If you're swinging around some of these stocks that can be so volatile that can wipe you out or blow you up, the fact that you know exactly what you're getting into at Nadex is kind of slick.
Okay,
it's really kind of slick. You should check them out. And I will say, by the way, I want to put a little plug in. If you don't know, go to nadex.com and check it out. But if you've never traded any of these things before, it's just kind of ironic.
I've done it. It's actually pretty fun. I don't
it's
know if
fun.
I'm
It's
to say
the
that
adrenaline on it.
Pretty damn fun.
A blast. But we're running a boot camp a week from tomorrow for trading gold and oil, because that's actually what traders are looking at right now. It's those products, supply demand on the economic recovery, interest rates and inflation on gold. These markets are hot.
So you gave us a tip of what to look at with oil, right? You said we're seeing Europe sell it, and then U.S. traders buy it up. Anything like that we should be paying attention to for the gold market, or for people who aren't deep in the gold market, like, hey, here's where I can start looking.
So gold is a proxy for inflation. So pay attention to gold on Wednesday. We're going to hear what the Fed has to say, right? They're coming out with their FOMC statement. I doubt they're going to move interest rates anywhere off of 0.25%. There's no way they're changing anything. But their vernacular might change. If you're not familiar with it, the Fed has a mandate to try to keep inflation around 2%. And they've tried to spur inflation, actually, so they can we got interest rates at the lowest they've ever been. And they haven't been able to see that. Now that the economy is firing up, we're actually starting to see some inflation. Powell went on 60 Minutes a couple of weeks ago. Jay Powell said he's prepared to let the economy run hot for a little bit and overshoot it. So what does that mean? If we're running at 2.5%, 3%, will he let it run that way for a little while? But people are measuring inflation now. They're looking at 4%. We might be running hot. And in that regard, that would drive the price of gold higher. So things to be looking at, right? Because whenever you have inflation, it's all these assets are going to start going up in price. And, gold also, it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out against a lot of this crypto stuff. Because a lot of the younger generation have put their some of those store of value assets into cryptocurrencies. And, as those, if that bubble starts to pop a little bit or some of the gas comes out, people could end up flooding back into the store of value that's been there for thousands of years, namely gold.
Yep.
Right. It's a precious metal, limited quantity, and it's shiny.
An interesting space. And guys, I dropped the link to the boot camp, the how to trade gold and oil that Todd was talking about in the chat. So if you want to join that, link is there for your viewing pleasure.
So yeah, I by the way, I love Young Investor. That's just fantastic.
I know, isn't he the best?
You know what? When
it does not get any better than that.
No, I'm going to give you a personal story here. I've got two sons. One's about to graduate from Northwestern. The other one's a freshman down at Tulane. When they were first born, my parents gave me a few $100s to help out with the crib, and my father-in-law gave it, whatever. So I had a little bit of money. I matched it and I put it in accounts for each of the kids and just threw it into a fund and let it grow for a bit. But when they were about 8 or 9, I introduced them like, hey guys, you've got a little bit of money, and I explained the stock market and how you invest, and we reallocated those funds, and it's trade what you know. And they discussed it, talked it over, and eventually we reallocated that out into, well, what would a 8-year-old boy want to invest in? So it was Coca-Cola, Disney. Okay. I loved it. I mean, the light bulb went on. They get the concept. They really do. If you talk to them about it, I thought it was fascinating because at the time too, my older son noticed that a lot of people smoke. And so a piece of it went into Philip Morris.
There you go. All right. 8 years old, starting him off young. I like it.
But he's not going to smoke. But they had the wisdom and the foresight to see it. They got it. So I love to see Young Investor out there doing it because let's face it, how else are you going to build wealth?
Exactly.
So
cool.
But there are more than just stocks. Taking a look at some of the commodity markets, foreign exchange, really hot. But then you can also always, the equity indices, particularly as people start to see rotations a little bit. If we get an economic recovery, the NASDAQ might not perform as well as some of the blue chips. We've seen that rotation a bit.
Yep.
Right. So
absolutely.
All sorts of opportunity. All sorts of opportunity.
All right, guys, I'm dropping the link to the How to Trade Gold and Oil boot camp in there again, so you can go hang out with Todd. Todd, we appreciate you for coming on and hanging out with us today.
Oh, man, it's been a blast. Love being here. I hope we can come back and talk about all sorts of other fun stuff.
Boom. I love it. I like that oil tip. Again, that's the Europe's been selling, U.S. has been buying. All right, that gives me something to go off of.
We call them parabolic retracements. It's like makes an emotional move. And whether it's an emotional move up, it's just been, then it comes right back down. I mean, it's just kind of crazy. So keep an eye on it.
All right. I'm going to keep an eye. Thanks, Todd.
All right. Excellent. Thanks.
All right, guys. If you are just joining us, I have something to show you might not be aware of. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Check this. There it is. All right, check this out. On your YouTube account, right? You're watching us on YouTube. It's very likely, almost guaranteed, that somewhere there is a thumb on that page. Here's what my thumb looks like. It's going to look remarkably similar to that. If the thumb is gray and not blue, go ahead and click the gray thumb. You want the blue one. You know, the winners have the blue thumbs. Let's run these likes up. The reason why I always ask about this is not for myself or not for selfish reasons, but because the more people that we have hanging out in ZingerNation as a part of the community, the more ideas that we're going to get going. And more importantly, the more people that we are going to have in our chat challenge, the weekly competition where we are picking stocks for prizes. ZingerNation is going head to head every single week. What is the best performing stock of the week going to be? All right, guys, you know the drill. Link is in the chat. It is a shared Google Doc. Go ahead, open up that link. On the left-hand side here, you are going to write your name. On the right-hand column, you are going to write what you think the best performing stock of the week is going to be. Again, I had my 3 rules of earnings week that I implore you to follow. Know your stocks. Know the peer companies who reported. Look at the price action into the report to see, you know, hey, has this already run up or run down, etc. This week, we are competing for a Benzinga track jacket, Benzinga Detroit track jacket. If you need 2, we will even give you 2. That's right. Go ahead, again, click the link in the chat to the shared Google Doc. Put your name on the left-hand side, your ticker on the right-hand column there. And there's one caveat. The stock that you're picking has to be reporting earnings this week. That's why on the right-hand side of my screen, I know it's small, but on the right-hand side of my screen here, I have the big companies that are reporting earnings. It doesn't necessarily need to be on this list, but it at least needs to be a stock that's reporting earnings. We will go through and check. I'm watching you. Yep, that's right. Yep, don't get disqualified. And every single day this week, we're going to be going through and checking out the price action, figuring out which Zingers ahead, which member of ZingerNation is behind, who's got the hot stock picks, who should we be looking through to in the chat. So even if you don't care, you do not want that Benzinga track jacket, or even 2 of them if you need to, you know, maybe you're large now, you want to get down to that medium, we'll send you both. Don't worry. This is the best earnings week of the quarter. We're ready to rock and roll it here at Benzinga. I want to make sure you guys are as well. So drop those stocks, drop those tickers in there. And again, we're checking this thing every day. So if you want to know how you're faring to the competition, hit the subscribe button, turn on the alerts. So every day, 12:30 on the dot, I'm going to have this sheet up and shouting out who's ahead. If you want to write a fun little message on the sheet too, like Happy did, look at this. Hello, Benzinga family. Write that out. You know, if you have a family member, a loved one whose birthday it is, do that. If you're Christian Gallagher, you want to share, hey, your size XL post-pandemic, don't worry, Christian, we're going to send you that large too. We'll you know, some a little bit of Benzinga motivation to work you down back down to that large. But again, guys, sheet is in there. It is active. It is open. I'm going to give you another 25 seconds. 25 more seconds to go ahead and get your ticker, the stock you are watching that's reporting earnings this week, in the sheet. And I even have the Jaws theme. Wait. 15 seconds. Boom. All right. That was the entirety of the Jaws theme. 22 seconds long. If you need a fun fact of the day, how long is the Jaws theme? It's 22 seconds, or at least that snippet of it. But all right, guys, we are going to go ahead and close the sheet in just a second here. Again, the one caveat for this week is that the stock must be reporting earnings this week, and don't write over your fellow Zingers. Because again, this is our favorite week of the year. It makes it fun. Plenty of news to have floating around. And if you guys are just joining us, I'm going to give you a preview as to what we have coming up today. Of course, this is the Idea Show. We are trying to bring you the most interesting companies that we know. So Paul Travers, CEO of Vuzix, ticker VUZI, Vuzi, one of the hottest stocks of the past several months, is going to be joining us at 1 o'clock Eastern, just a couple minutes from now. I think we might even get a guest appearance from Benzinga CEO Jason Raznick in a little bit. We need Jason on here to talk about Tesla. Tweet at him. It's at Jason Raznick. Say, Jason, we need the Tesla thoughts. He was on the Tesla train. I mean, before anybody, like 8 years ago, he was on the Tesla train and has been studying that stock ever since. At 1:30, we're going to be bringing Monaker Group CEO Bill Kerby on to talk about their company, a recent deal that they did. So we are going to keep the ideas flying. A little preview for tomorrow. The group voted. We do want to run an options hedging for earnings, little demo tomorrow. But before we do that, before we get to any of those things, let's go ahead. Let's grab some tickers out of the chat. You know, I always make time for chat tickers, even if we have a jam-packed day like we do today. Right, I always make time for chat tickers. First one on the radar, NIO, ticker NIO. This is, as you guys know, a stock that I love to hate, but I'm flipping it around right now. Hold on. See, I need my I lost my buttons. All right, we lost the buttons. I had a good one queued up. Let's try this one. All right, rally horn, a little bit disappointing. But all right, NIO, stock that historically I love to hate. I actually do like this one right now. The chart is beautiful. Here's a 5-day chart that we are looking at. I'm going to zoom us out to the 1-year chart. Check this out. 1 year, you can see these daily candles, right? We're definitely absolutely getting a break in the stock. We had some previous selling up here at this 42-ish level. We are above that. It looks like we have some room to fly at least until about 46 or so. The one warning that I'm going to give, and this is going back to my first rule of earnings, which is know your dates, right? The first thing that I notice on my Benzinga pro.benzinga.com, when I look at this NIO chart, is that we have earnings coming in 3 days after the close of market on Thursday. So if you are looking to get long this one, it's definitely not a stock that I would hold into earnings. Highly volatile, highly speculative. I would maybe trade the momentum on this thing into that report. If you love the company, you love the story, it's a long-term holding. Good luck. But again, always know your date, know how your peer companies are doing, and you will be in an okay position. And I see Jason's here. Mr.
Yes.
Raznick joining us on Tesla Day. Good day to have you here.
Yes, Tesla Day. What do you want to know?
How are you feeling? Like, give me like the gut check. Like we're feeling good, we're feeling bad. What's the move?
I think gross margin will be a little lower than typical, only because they've sold more, Model Ys, Model 3s. I guess gross margin actually will be good. Total revenue may be lower because I think they've been way slower on getting the new Model S's and Model X's out, which will hurt overall revenue because they average price around 100. Whereas Model Y is 70, Model 3 is 50. So I think gross margin will be good. Total revenue could be short only because they've been a lot slower in getting the Model S and Model Y out. If you go to their site, right, Model S and Model X out. If you go to Tesla's site right now, it's 12 to 16 weeks for a Model X and a Model S. Whereas for Model Y, Model 3, it's pretty quick.
Okay, and then we got news over the weekend that Elon Musk is going to be hosting Saturday Night Live on May 8th. I think that's actually a catalyst for the stock. That Friday into the Saturday Night Live, I might buy a little bit of Tesla. It's going to be so mainstream. Every retail brokerage account is going to be looking at Tesla on Monday.
I know. My only reason I didn't want him to do it because I want him to focus on Tesla,
Because say it again?
My only reason that I didn't want him to do it because I want him not to be distracted.
Yeah, I know. You're saying 12. So my first thought is you're saying 12 to 16 weeks for deliveries. He's hosting Saturday Night Live with Miley Cyrus. I'm like, all right, dude, let's get the cars going and then go on Saturday Night Live.
That's right. That's right.
Yes. Exactly.
That's my challenge. Do you get what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying.
All right. Well, we have an exciting guest coming up.
We have a very big guest coming on. A favorite of the chat. The Zinger community has been asking about this one for a while. We always deliver.
Do you know the company?
You guys interesting companies. What did you say?
Do you know the company?
Vuzix, of course. I think it's an interesting play. I think it's a super interesting company. The stock's, of course, been hot.
People like it.
I know.
Yeah.
That's what we do. We deliver.
It's
You
like
know, like AR type play. It's pretty interesting.
you're right. Innovation, Kathy Wood type style investment. But yeah. So U.S. Steel's earnings are Thursday. Wow. Okay, I still own those call options. So in the chat, they told me to buy it a long time ago, and it's been a dog for me.
Thursday after market close.
By the way, have you
I don't know
seen
how people do earnings season without Benzinga Pro. I said earlier on the show that if you still haven't started that free pro trial, there's literally no better time than right now in this heavy earnings season. Link is in the chat.
Yeah. Do you know though? What are we going to say? I guess I saw it in the chat, but I don't know what just happened. Do you know? We have a lot of earnings, obviously. But what about MMDF? Do you see that move? Listening for the Nasdaq.
MMEDF, MindMed. Going Nasdaq.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, 46%.
It was at $1.30 and it was on our small cap conference.
Boom.
Yeah, that's Kevin O'Leary, the whole crew.
So what was the price at the Benzinga small cap conference?
Around 130.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good 4 or 5 bagger. Okay.
Yep.
I'll bite.
Mel Raznick owns it too, actually. So.
All right, I'll have to give him a celebratory call tonight.
Yep. All right.
Or maybe stop by for a nice dinner. I don't know. He's taking everyone out with this game.
Maybe with knowing he owns. I didn't tell him to buy it. I was like, I don't know. All right. So we got our guest coming on right now, Luke. I think I'm doing the interview. Any questions you want me to ask?
Producer AB has some good ones.
I know.
But something that I think, I mean, let's just start with the overview and what led to the vision of the company. I think is always interesting. It really gets into the soul of the company outside of just the numbers.
Oh yeah. All right. So we, I guess you want to do the thing, the clip thing, and if you're listening, hit the like button. And here we go, and say bye to Luke. He's gonna go fish.
I'm going fishing, guys. Happy trading.
All right. So, you're there. Hello, Paul. How are you?
Pretty good, Jason. And you?
Good. Nice to see you today. People, as you know, investors are excited about innovation, things that can help improve life, things that can help improve the military, anything around that. And you've definitely piqued investors' interest. You've been on I believe you've been on the show before. Real quick though, what led to the launch of this company, and how long has it been around for?
Long history. I worked at Kodak for 5 years and left because they didn't like film being replaced by digital products. Built and sold 2 small companies. Sold one to Advanced Micro Devices effectively, and the other one I sold to Belkin. And then I started the world's first consumer virtual reality head-mounted display company. So this was 1993. And in 97, I bought out all the outside shareholders and started Vuzix. Our focus, because we were making these near-eye display things for VR, we said, look, the big bulky things, you disappear from the real world. That doesn't work for the defense markets. And we had an initial focus on the defense markets. So we made this thing called a TAC eye, which was a monocular device. It went here in your eye, and special forces guys could throw a robot inside of a building from a company called iRobot, and they'd drive the robot around, and they could see through the robot's eyes through these glasses that we made. And we worked with DRS and Raytheon and made thermal weapon sight engines. And so we really got a pretty good feel for the defense markets. And one of the things we learned early on in the game was if you make big, bulky, and heavy devices, they're not going to work. And if you make immersive devices, they'll probably just be useful for training. So we've been trying to make these super lightweight, wearable computing systems. The special forces guys came to us and said, Paul, we want to have a pair that look like Oakley-style sunglasses with the computers built into the glasses. If we had those, half the U.S. military would buy these things from you. At the time, they were using our TAC eye tough books, open them up at night, light up like a Christmas tree. And so they were trying to replace all of that with just a pair of glasses with computers in them. Over the years, we found that they need to be lightweight, truly wearable. We're selling these products into enterprise today for the most part. Medical organizations right on through to warehousing, logistics, remote auditing. It's amazing. And this whole thing with COVID has kind of pushed it along quite a bit, frankly. It's difficult to visit one of your plants in China or to get into an operating theater today because COVID, you're not even allowed in the front door. But with our glasses, a person can wear the glasses. They're these lightweight, high speed, 8-core processors built into them, high resolution 4K cameras. And so I can put the glasses on, wear them during an operation or working on XYZ piece of equipment. And then through the internet, I can have another person log in and see what I'm doing and either help me or I can train them on doing that particular task. So it all started with VR headsets, but where it's going, it's the future of computing. If you look at what's going on with things like AR Core and AR Kit, people are being trained to hold their phone up, point it down the camera's running, but on the backside, maybe there's on the road in front of you arrows telling you how to get to the restaurant that you chose, or like Pokemon Go, where you hold it up and you chase characters down the street. All of those augmented reality kinds of applications are really training people the next paradigm of computing. In the future, computing is going to take the digital world and bring it into the real world, and it's going to change how almost everything is done. So it's an exciting time to be making these lightweight devices. And from the very beginning, the US defense guys asked if we could make Oakley-style sunglasses. So we have a lot of intellectual properties about taking this pair that you're seeing right here, which is a workhorse, but getting them to ultimately look like Oakley's, or if you've seen the movie The Kingsman style glasses. You'll put them on, and instead of holding your phone up, that information will just be in the glasses in front of you, connecting the digital and the real world. The future of computing.
So, I mean, it seems amazing. I mean, I solved so many problems for my mom when she's trying to show me something on her computer, and I don't have to use TeamViewer, and I can see what she's seeing.
Yeah.
All that stuff. Is this, go ahead.
TeamViewer is a partner of Vuzix. You can run TeamViewer's software, either Upskill or UbiMax, when they bought both of them. You can now, using that software, do anything from picking out of warehouses to this remote help kinds of things that you just described. Only now it's not just about helping your mom with her computer. It's maybe helping her change the oil filter on the car, although your mom probably wouldn't be doing that.
But so can I buy these right now?
Yeah, they're available today. In fact, Vuzix's revenues are climbing quarter after quarter.
Yep. And we're going to get to the revenue. We're going to get to the numbers in a second. But
yep,
where would I buy these?
We sell through distribution, but you can just go to our website. It's the best place to get started. All of our products are out there. If you're a larger company and you buy through distribution, we can enable that for you also. But Vuzix.com, and you can see the 300, the 400s out there, our Blade, and soon our next generation smart glasses that have this sort of really cool look and feel.
Okay, so like that's the next generation?
Well, right now we're calling it next generation smart glasses. We haven't given it a formal brand yet, but they are by far the sexiest glasses Vuzix is going to be coming out with, or anybody I think on the planet has come out with. It's a look and feel that just, has not been shown before. If you go under the technology section, I think it's the second over, if the tabs across the top there, up or right one, yeah, technology, and then I think, yes, or maybe it's, I need my glasses on to see it. Scroll down further. I think it's the bottom tab on that page you were just on. Yep, those. There's enough technology in those glasses actually to have an LTE radio even. So you might imagine that's the smartphone of the future. You'll be able to make and receive phone calls, get on the internet, do all that connected stuff that we were talking about. We'll have multiple versions of these, some with more capabilities, some with less.
Are those a real thing right now? Are those out there or no?
The waveguides and the display engines, they're not shipping yet. These won't be shipping. They'll be shipping to key partners by the end of this year. And then sometime in Q1, we're expecting them to ship in general.
Okay. And then
if you look at those frames right there that underneath the word Vuzix, all of the CPU electronics, batteries, these are all in. This is effectively as much as a full smartphone. LTE radios, connectivity, binocular, you look through and the imagery floats out in front of you, and there's cameras out the front if you so desire to have those versions.
No.
See this little tiny display engine right here? That's the smallest micro display engine on the planet today. It's the size of a pencil eraser, and it puts out 2 million nits of light. Yeah, it's this little tiny low power self-emitting display.
Yeah, but I get it. It's in the glasses, but what am I doing with it? Like, I'm wearing the glasses and I'm saying, like, you know, come, like, what am I doing with it? Like,
let me tell you what a doctor would do with them today. You're a doctor, you're down in Africa, you have the glasses on, you're in the operating theater, and it's the first time you've done this portion of an open heart surgery. So you have the glasses on, the camera's running, an expert doctor in San Francisco is seeing what you're seeing right through your eyes as you're operating on this patient. That doctor can reach in and with that view, draw on the screen and say, no, cut the artery here, not the vein over there, or whatever it is that might need to be done. So it's this remote sharing, just like doing a Zoom call, but it happens in your glasses. If you're a average Joe, you might be, you know, running down the street, listening to your favorite musics, directions to get to the next place. Pokemon Go, instead of holding your phone up, pointing it down the street. I mean, basically, the ability to connect the digital world to the real world. You think about those directions. You want to get to the Italian restaurant and you're in New York City, people are looking with their face stuck in their phones, pointing the phone, you know, to try to figure out the directions. None of that's needed anymore. You just put the glasses on, say directions to the Thai restaurant, boom, on the road in front of you, those directions will appear.
No, that would be awesome. And, hey, and guys, in the chat, I'm going to ask some of the questions that we have, and then for the last 5 minutes, I'm going to take chat questions. So I see your chat questions. One of our producers is noting them, so we're going to get them. Feel free to keep asking, and we'll get to as many questions as we can. Okay.
Jason, we have doctors today that use this M400 right here as an example, standalone for knee surgery. The doctor has the glasses on. The knee is splayed open, and they have a marker on the end of a rod arm that's screwed down to the person's leg. The doctor looks at that marker floating in space, and then there's a reference marker on where the pins need to get aligned on the knee. And this is all happening in real time. He makes these adjustments in real time on the reference marker. When it gets aligned appropriately, he puts the screws in the knee, fraction of the cost. It's much faster to get the operation done, and it's really highly accurate. The glasses are used entirely to do just that job. Smart glasses are going to be everywhere. If you think about a laptop with an Excel spreadsheet, that's a device that is highly useful, or word processing. That's what's happening with smart glasses today. There's more and more applications that are coming that are very much like an Excel spreadsheet, but they enable things to be done that have never been done before, from open heart surgery, training, remote auditing. It's amazing to me the number of companies that are using Vuzix's products now.
Yeah, and so I coach a flag football team, and I went on Amazon and I bought glasses that have a camera built in. So we could get video from behind the quarterback's viewpoint, and it just had a camera built in. There was nothing we could do with it. It was just a dumb camera. Then you have to connect it to a USB hub and then upload it. I mean, this is a small example where I feel like so much technology could be utilized here in a professional and even in a sport environment, I guess is what I was going to say.
100%. You might imagine a pair of these glasses if you went to the football game and just having the first yard down line painted on the football field like you were sitting at home, and how interactive that is. Only now you can have all kinds of stats about each one of the football players, or if you're at the racetrack, giving you augmented information about the races. I mean, these things are going to appear everywhere. They're going to be part of life.
So one question that I'm getting asked about, and I'm going to get to the financials and your extraordinary growth, etc. Google Glasses, did they abandon them? Like what happened there?
Yeah, Google Glass is still there. You see these glasses that this gentleman's wearing right here, right?
Yep.
That eyepiece is designed to be put high up in this guy's view, down low in this guy's view. He can tilt that front eyepiece and move the camera. He can move it from his left eye to his right eye, either one. There's a bunch of different mounts that you can use this. This device has got an 8-core processor from Qualcomm. It's got a 4K camera, image stabilized. Now let's talk about Google Glass. Google Glass is stuck in the upper right eye. That's it. You can't move it anywhere. It has a crippled processor. It's running slow. It has a fixed focus camera that's much lower resolution. When you try and stream high resolution content with Google Glass, it overheats, so they limit what your capabilities are. It's only right eye, so when you have 1,000 employees, 20 to 30% of them can't wear the glasses because they're left eye dominant. This thing was designed to go to work, and Google built Google Glass what they thought was for the average consumer. There's places where it works in enterprise, and they're still there, but 9 times out of 10, Vuzix is pretty much ahead of Google Glass when it comes to the customer base and what they really need. These are easy to deploy, from a warehouse to a construction site to the operating theater. Vuzix's glasses are great to use. You think about an operating theater, right? You might have a doctor. He's got these special glasses on. He's got these 5X eye loops that he's looking through so he can see what's going on with the operation, right? At the same time, he's got safety glasses and he's got PPE gear on. And somehow he's got to fit Google Glass into that. It just doesn't work. Whereas Vuzix has mounts for all of those kinds of situations where literally you've got all that gear on, you've got a headband on, and the glasses just sneak right in nice to get the job done.
Got it. With where you're at in the space, well, how many like engineers do you have working on this? Like how many employees work?
Yeah, Vuzix has about 100 employees today. We've been doing this since '97, if you think about it. And the intellectual properties that we built around waveguides. So if you think again about Google Glass, right? It's using optics literally that are about as conventional as they get. They're mirrors, they're conventional lenses, basically Copernicus style optics that have been around forever. Vuzix's optics are literally based on these really flat, thin optical surfaces that look a lot like your glasses, Jason. And we put on the surface of that a hologram so that we can then put them in a pair of glasses that literally look like regular glasses. So no longer are you going to see this computer stick here. You're going to wear these regular glasses and the imagery will float out in front of you. It's different experience than what you might get with a Google Glass or any of the other competitive products that might be out there today. Vuzix has been working very hard to make this stuff shrink down, all-day wearable, lightweight sort of form factors. And I think that effort and the software side of it that's also coming around for Vuzix has put us pretty much in the lead on the enterprise side of this business. Enterprise is going to be in the billions. There'll be millions of smart glasses sold into the enterprise space as they're used, from in-store picking to warehousing to operating theaters around the world. And we have a lead there. And I think in the enterprise side, Vuzix is really in a pretty good spot, especially as we roll our next generation technology into it.
So I just pulled up the Vuzix Amazon page. So you're selling some stuff through Amazon. Are these glasses the older ones, or are these new?
That's our Blade right there. That was our first pair that we came out with that sort of have that look and feel that an average Joe might wear. Again, these are still designed for the enterprise marketplace. You can see most of these images are around, people at work. I will say we sell a fair number of them to consumers. They can do a lot of really cool things. There's games that you can play on them, and you can have Amazon Alexa in the glasses and talk to them, and they'll talk back and play your favorite music and all that sort of stuff. But they really are focused on enterprise today.
So these are the new ones, and these are around 1800?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, and these are just so much better?
Well, it's a racehorse. It's designed to go to work. The Blade that you saw previously is an old 4-core processor. This is 8-core, Qualcomm's latest XR technology, silicon. So it really does an amazing job. If you have the right network, you can stream 4K video out of this guy. So, you were talking before where you had the camera and you were using them in some sporting events and stuff. With these guys, you turn it on, there's a beautiful OLED display. You can point it. It's basically like having an internet connected camera that you can completely control in the process. And with it, this is just, it's a racehorse. It does a phenomenal job on these remote support kinds of applications. In the operating theater, you need processing power to do a lot of the kinds of applications people are using today, and these guys have it.
Can the camera record full color?
In fact, it can record full 4K video, so that's broadcast quality video and full color. Yes. It's got 68 gigabytes of memory, or 64 gig of memory built in. So it can record literally based upon the resolutions, hours worth of video in the glasses.
Got it. Now I'm switching a little bit to the numbers. In 2020, you had I think a 74% increase in revenue. Are you expecting similar growth in 2021?
As long as it keeps going like it is, you bet we are. We report here in a couple of weeks. It's hard for me to get into what Q1 might have looked like, but it's not a disappointing first quarter. And if you look at the business, the broad-based portion of our business seems to be ticking along nicely. It used to be $1 million a quarter was a good quarter for Vuzix. We're doing that monthly now. And some of the broad-based business, there's areas of that, like in the medical space and in some insurance areas and the likes, where they're starting to buy in bigger volumes. So you got the broad-based portion of the business coming online, and we're expecting growth, quite frankly, on both sides of it. But as these companies start to deploy in bigger ways, we expect to have hotspots of pieces of business that are larger percentages of quarterly revenues as we move along.
Is the DoD, Department of Defense, is that a big customer?
It isn't yet. We sold our defense business quite some time ago, maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago. We had given an exclusive to the partner that we sold it to about 2 years ago, let's say a year and a half. We bought back some of that exclusive. So we have just recently started to entertain more business in that space. And as you might imagine, if HoloLens is an example, they just got an IDIQ order for millions, hundreds of millions of dollars worth of product. And Big Army has special areas where they need waveguide and optics to solve problems similar but different to what HoloLens does in that space. And so, the OEM side of our business, where we're supplying pieces and parts and components, has started to pick up. And, we're looking forward to ultimately being a decent sized supplier into that marketplace.
Got it. Is that a hard thing to combat? Do they not want it, the latest technology? I mean, how do they get it, get the word out to those places? I mean, I feel like that's a hard business.
These are companies that we've supplied into before in the past. I mean, if you think about the DRSs, the Raytheons, the, enhanced thermal weapon sight programs, where, during the Iraq war, I don't know, maybe Vuzix sold 300,000 or 400,000 night vision engines, the electronics that went into the back of those thermal weapon sight programs. It takes time to win that kind of business, because you have to build the solution that the military wants, then it becomes a program of record, and then at some point in time, it moves out into the real deployments. And yes, that does take time to make happen. That's what some of these OEM programs are about with Vuzix. We're helping to solve problems associated with trying to improve and enhance some equipment that's already in the field, and in some cases, it's brand new solutions.
Okay, so now this question, someone asked about LiDAR, and I don't believe there's LiDAR associated here, but will these glasses or glasses like this ever have a LiDAR component where you could like see through things in a military capacity? Well,
we look at LiDAR a little bit differently. We look at LiDAR as sensing technology that allows us to see what's out in front of you. If you want to have computer objects that interact with the real world, those computer objects need to know where the real world objects are. They call that spatial computing kinds of stuff. And you can count on the fact that future generations of Vuzix products will have time of flight and LiDAR type technology in it that allows it to see the real world, the computer to see the real world. So when it draws the virtual objects in it, like, how do you know where to draw the line on the road or where the first downyard line is? The glasses need to know where that is. And so that technology is definitely technology that will be in Vuzix's, some of our next generation products.
Okay.
Remember, for us, we're trying to make these things lightweight, truly wearable today. There's a lot of applications right now that if you don't have to wear 2.5 pounds of stuff and look like a box of rocks that you couldn't get through an 8-hour day in enterprise. They're useless for. So if you load this thing up with all these sensors right now, you end up with devices that are big, bulky, and there's no way you could put in an hour a day. So they're automatically being kind of like rejected for real deployments. So you got to think about how to shrink this stuff down to be little tiny stuff, which is where our next generation smart glasses are coming from. We've worked really hard on this micro LED technology that's allowed us literally, well, in fact, that's a display engine right there. Put it on the overhead so it's easier to see. That little thing right there, if I were to light it up and point it at the wall, it would project an image up on the wall just like your home theater system would, but it's been shrunk down to a pencil size device, eraser size.
Wow.
You can put that in a temple of glasses and it disappears. That's the kind of tech that Vuzix working on. It's how you get to the point to where you make glasses people will actually put on. You have to admit your wife probably wouldn't wear those glasses that military helmet guy's wearing behind me there. They wouldn't look good in downtown Manhattan, walking down the street kind of a thing, right?
Yep. Which profession is using glasses like this the most?
Surprisingly, a year and a half ago, there was not that much happening in the medical space. But right now, I would suggest that it's probably one of Vuzix's biggest customer base areas. Medical, from operating theater stuff I described earlier to training. I mean, you can put these glasses on and the resolution is so great. You can even see the sutures if you're doing open heart surgery. So with the glasses on for training purposes, the other way around, the glasses are on and somebody is helping me as a doctor learn how to do this new operation. And they need all this sort of stuff today because, companies like Medtronic have equipment in the hospitals. They need to be there during the operations to help maintain and keep that equipment running. Well, how do you do that with COVID? It's a nightmare. So now what they're doing is they're putting our glasses in the operating theater. The doctor puts the glasses on and Medtronic personnel can literally watch in just through the computer system and the glasses to help maintain and keep that equipment going. You can do many, many more operations. It's easier, it's less expensive. You don't have guys in the field 24/7 racking up big airplane bills and burning jet fuel.
Got it. Okay. So wait, one of the things that, what was this person? I thought it was a good idea. This one is, what's the insurance company who purchased them recently?
Yeah, well, we didn't necessarily announce the name of the company.
Yep. Breaking news here. We got a huge audience. It's okay.
Yeah. Let me just say they're one of the top guys and they're using it for just what you might imagine when you're trying to do assessments on vehicles and the likes. These glasses can help out a fair amount in that space. You might imagine that it's not just vehicles. There's a lot of different places in insurance where if there's, let's say, a hurricane that hit, then you have to go in and determine, repair bills and how much you're going to pay for. All those assessments take time and you need qualified people. So these glasses help support that.
One question is on the surgery type stuff, and I know what you were saying remote and like you're talking to whoever, like the vendor, and they're seeing the video. Why do you need AR or VR? Why can't it just be glasses with video capability that can be live streamed to something else?
It's a two-way thing, right? So I have the glasses on and I'm performing the operation. Imagine this. Let's pretend that I'm trying to defuse a bomb. And the bomb is sitting in front of me and I got the glasses on and the expert who knows this bomb is sitting in a air-conditioned area. He's looking at the computer screen and because the camera is looking at the bomb and the display screen is looking at that same feed coming off the camera, me as the guy that's doing the bomb diffusion, I can look inside and I'm working and my hands are down there and all of that scene is going to the expert. Now I get ready to cut the blue wire. Okay, the expert sees that. He's like, wait, no. Then he takes his stylus and he reaches out and he grabs on his screen and says, no, you got to cut the red wire, this one right here. And he puts a check mark on it and he highlights it. And in my glasses, I'm seeing that red wire lit up. So he can walk me step by step by step through this process, two-way. So you think about it, this is the future of communications. It's voice and it's video and it's two-way. So back and forth annotations. I can be at a certain part through the operation or through the bomb thing and say, wait, let me show you the schematic for this. And you can push the PDF of the schematic up onto my glasses. So this is a two-way. You think about doing an audit, right? I'm a guy that's sitting in a warehouse, and the auditors are saying, let's check what inventory that's in box location A7. I come over, I look inside, and it's back and forth between me and the auditors so that we can ferret out this audit to make sure that the part count was right, etc. So this is about two-way communications. And the AR piece comes in when you're trying to help the person that with the glasses on, you can literally draw on his field of vision and help him get that particular task done.
Great. The chat is requesting us, Paul, the next time we do this interview to do it with the glasses on. They're saying they should be using your 4K camera. We should be using a 4K camera, and I should be on it with this, and I could see the comments there. I don't know if that's possible, but
what we could do is the next time I could give everybody a walking tour of the facilities, and I can walk through the building and we can talk to each other, and you say, hey, go look at that thing and let's check out this thing. And
let's do that.
Yes.
Let's do that, because that would show off your camera. I was about to buy it on Amazon just now, but then I'm like, wait, I don't know if that's the right one I want. And I'm always like very picky with my technology, and then I wear glasses too. So that's the issue. So then I'm like, all right, I'll hold off for a second. But yeah, a walking tour of the facility with you with the glasses on would be great, because then you see what's going on. I mean, if you're willing to do that, let's do that. I mean, if you want to, I don't know if you want to wait till after I think you have earnings May 11th or 10th or 12th, one of the days.
It's that Monday. But yeah, I would love to do it. I think it really would highlight how this all works.
Yeah,
for sure.
Okay, so let's
in fact, we can go so far as to log in, and I can give you an example of how work instructions work and how you can talk to the glasses, and I can have one of my colleagues join, and we could do a remote support call, and then I could, it's an unending pile of stuff, but
yeah,
you can see how the voice controls work, because everything can be driven just by voice. You might imagine a doctor in an operating theater can't go like this to zoom in. He can just say, zoom in 2x, and I mean, all of this stuff is hands-free, voice driven, and there's nothing like seeing it in person.
Yep. And on that earnings call, will you name the insurance company, or you're not? Look, they don't want you to name it at this point.
There's going to come a point in time here shortly where some of our bigger clients are letting us, now that they're deploying and stuff, say more. Yeah, so the answer is not probably on the earnings call, but I would anticipate soon enough people will know who they are.
Got it. And it's
soon enough it's going to show up in the world, because these guys are using them in the real world. So.
Yep. So if you guys are listening, go look at your local insurance guys from, that are auto insurance or whatever. Go look at those, and you guys can find out. And one last question, because we have, I know, another a public company coming on in a second, Monaker group. So what is like an average day like for you? Like, what time do you get up in the morning? And then what's like an average day for you, Paul? Like fires putting out, or responding to media inquiries, or what are you focused on?
I'm probably not a very healthy example of an average day, frankly, because we do business around the world, and I'm not smart enough to put my phone away. So sometimes it's late at night, I'm still working, flipping stuff out. But I'm usually up by 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm here at the office by 8, kind of a thing. Like I said, we do business around the world, so it's not unusual to be here till a bit later in the day. What's it like? We're building a company, from the plant floor to the technology side of what we're doing. I mean, everything is really going 100 miles an hour. I've got some phenomenal senior managers that know this space better than anybody on the planet on the technology side. I got great people on the plant floor, and we're bringing on a few more folks that have been involved with and helped build multi-billion-dollar companies. And so we're in the process of taking those next steps. Vuzix is well capitalized today, and we have every intention of driving this industry and making sure that we own it where we can. We're up against big players, but these big players' mission are different than what Vuzix is. We have a focus on owning enterprise and the technology for the future, and so I spend a lot of time around the tech. Some people call me a bit of a tech head, but I am intimately involved with the technology side of the company at the same time. So I quite frankly enjoy that part of Vuzix more than just about anything else. I will say, finally, we have a focus at Vuzix right now around the software side of our business too. You know, the product sells because it can do so many things, and if you have software that you're selling with it, with annual license fees associated with it, it ends up making it for a very sticky product. No matter what the competition is, if it's a piece of hardware, if they can't, you know, walk in the store and measure the inventory counts of 2x4 sitting on the shelf and be integrated into the inventory systems, and that all belongs to Vuzix because we built those systems. It really makes our systems sticky. And so Vuzix is not just about a hardware company today. We're starting to expand into that software side of things.
No, that's awesome. And Paul, I put a comment in there from Internet Enforcers. Paul needs to give Jason Raznick a pair of these devices so he can walk around the BZ office and then give them away as a thing. Maybe we'll do a giveaway, you know, when the retail product is the right price point, we'll do a giveaway, sign up. And when they'll do it, promoting the walk around the office. So
we'd support that with you. It sounds like fun.
It sounds like fun. You like fun. We're building cool technology. Why not show it off? So thank you, Paul, for coming on. Congrats on the growth of the company. Those are real growing numbers, and you're building sweet technology. You're gonna have to get my a pair of those, and we'll figure out a giveaway or some sort. So thanks for coming on. Have a good rest of your Monday, man.
Yeah, thanks, Jason. You too, man.
All right. So the guys, that was Paul from Vuzix. Great growing company, and we're not going to stop. We got more CEOs coming on, more public companies right now. Don't go away. That's Vuzix. I try to ask all your questions, got to a lot of them, and try to, and so it sounds like some of those insurance companies' names will be coming out soon, but not maybe on the earnings call. But you're aware. The other question I could have asked about M&A talk, but I didn't go there as much. But let me get to the next guest because we're a little behind. So hold on one second. Hold your horses. And if you haven't, go follow Benzinga on Twitter. Or if you're listening to our YouTube right now, follow our YouTube if you want to be alerted to more awesome interviews and breaking news on this channel. Hold on one second. Hello. I guess Aaron didn't add everyone in, so I will do it. And now he is doing it. He's on delay. Hey guys, how you doing?
Wonderful. Nice to be with you, Jason. Thank you.
Nice to be with you. Okay, so I said Monaker Group, but it's not. It's Monaker Group. Is that how it's pronounced?
Monaker Group. Yes, that's right.
Okay, because Aaron wrote that in, so I just want to make sure I have this all. I got my whole story right. So thank you all for coming on. Appreciate it. I know there's some changes you guys are going. You're changing or switching tickers with a recent acquisition. Who wants to take the helm and give a little background on the company? Aaron, please put the symbol in the bottom so people are aware who we have on, and who wants to take the helm to give a little background?
So Jason, it's Bill, and I'll quickly take the helm and just give you a little bit of background, and then from there we'll open it up to a couple of the other guys. So Monaker over the last 12 months has been actively engaged in doing acquisitions and building an ecosystem with about 50 million consumers for over-the-top television, mobile, computer. If there was ever a point in time in our history where we began to realize how much we need computers and smart TVs and phones, it's during this pandemic. And so we thought the best thing we could do in order to be able to promote our key sectors, those sort of passion plays and fast growth areas of cryptocurrency, gaming, in-game advertising, followed by the travel sector, which really got hurt in the pandemic, was to be able to put together this ecosystem to be able to accelerate out our platforms and programs to our users and viewers.
Got it. Okay. So wait, the company, where are you guys? Are you guys based virtually right now, or are you just everywhere? Because I see your different places right now.
We are. Our headquarters are in Florida. We're out of Sunrise. But we have offices in Thailand. We have offices in Arizona, where Mark's coming from. Richard's up in Atlanta, and right now I'm out in Lake Tahoe. So we've become very virtual as a result of the pandemic.
And Jason, we've also recently acquired, we're in the process of, as Bill said, acquiring the interests in Bangkok. We've just acquired a business in Belgium and Switzerland with about 100 employees. We're just in the process of acquiring a bank in Puerto Rico. So we've gone from really a Florida and domestic focus to becoming a pretty sizable, I think with the combined companies, we're about 240 employees. And we're in this final transformation from Monaker Group. We've just received in the last step of the approval to move to NextPlay Technologies. Our symbol will change to NXTP on the NASDAQ, and the share exchange in the final acquisition is only, we think, days away now.
So it'll change to which symbol again? Say again.
NXTP, Nancy X-Ray Tom Paul. The new name of the company will be NextPlay Technologies. And we own a travel business called Next Trip. It fits well in all of those, and we'll be rebranding some of the other assets into the Next name as well.
Next Trip, is that, what's the URL? Is that the nexttrip.com?
Yes, which is, our focus has really been vacation rental for the last several years in the travel space. We've got some new business travel solutions. In the last couple of weeks, there's been favorable reports of business travel expected to come back faster than expected. We've got some direct-to-consumer, and we do a lot of white labeling of taking vacation rental properties and pushing them into other travel channels, travel booking channels. Agoda, we deliver vacation rental product into Agoda, which is the Asian booking arm of Booking.com. We deliver vacation rental inventory into Homes to Go, which is the biggest vacation rental search engine in the world.
How do you deliver inventory to them?
So what we have is we have a booking engine, and it's a business-to-business solution. And so what we've done is we've kind of amalgamated about 3.4 million properties from around the globe. We feed them into our booking engine, and then we link them into these larger systems to give them access to vacation rental inventory that they wouldn't normally be able to get to otherwise.
So let me ask you a question, I guess. Maybe so I understand it. If a site was launching today and they wanted to launch a travel site, would you be a potential vendor they would come to because you have a tool to pull inventory from other places?
Yes, we would be a vendor they would want to come to in order to gain access to large inventory of vacation rental properties.
And if you think about it, Jason, with the pandemic, vacation rental is probably the only travel product in the world that had some faster recovery and some utility during the pandemic. And so more and more travel agencies and travel groups around the world are going to be seeking this type of inventory to keep in the channel. And we have this solution for them.
Yeah. So in the ticket business, or back in the day, I had an online ticket business where, for sporting events. And there was like 2 databases that are on the back end that we would, go into, and that's where the inventory came from. And then if something sold, it would all, double check, it would all whatever. Is that kind of what we're talking about here?
Yeah, it's along that line. What we do is we provide a pre-packaged solution for people to access the vacation rental homes, and they know that it's got property managers, been tested, and it's quality product available to go, illegally rented, or you're getting to the wrong person. So we're a trusted source of inventory.
So could Benzinga start Benzinga Travel and use you guys as part of the database?
Not only could you start Benzinga Travel and use us as part of the database, we'd love if you wanted to come into our product, which is a business product that allows you to be able to access wholesale travel inventories, including the vacation rental products, and be able to structure and follow and control all of the aspects of employee travel as part of it. So that's our Next Trip business travel platform.
How long have you had this Next Trip business platform? I know you're buying companies. Was this part of an acquisition, or is this something you built?
No, this is something that we built out over the course of the last year or so, and we launched it about a month and a half ago. We started some initial marketing, knowing that we were early in the recovery of the travel business, but we had over 100 companies sign up because the way the platform works, it works based upon a per employee costing structure, as opposed to some of our competitors where you can end up spending $50,000, $100,000 a year in order to get the same sort of business travel services provide, based upon you can take it in bite-sized increments per employee. So we're a real solution for small to mid-sized businesses.
Got it. So is the hard thing with this business now to get the word out and let people know it exists?
That's the hard part right now in terms of starting to do it. And it kind of brings us back to what I talked about at the beginning of this, which is we've gone out and acquired an ecosystem for the company, and it ties into interactive TV, it ties into over the top, ties into mobile, ties into computer. And so at the end of the day, this ecosystem that we developed currently has 50 million viewers on it that we can get to. And we think we're able to grow that about 6 to 10-fold this year. So again, a very affordable and very unique reach that we can get to in order to drive our products and programs, including travel.
When you say the 52 million, what ecosystem, what thing are you talking about?
We just announced in April acquiring Reinhardt TV, which is actually a special acquisition company that we founded, and it acquired this Zapware, which is based in Europe. It's been around 20 years. It was originally spun out from Philips Media. It's been growing nicely over the 20 years. It was spun out by a sovereign wealth fund out of Belgium that had a kind of covenants that they had to focus all of their business into Europe. And so they became one of the biggest providers. They've won many of the awards, and they have this solution that touches about 50 million consumers through smart TV all the way down to phones through the telecoms. And in the acquisition that we have done, we enable them to move their software solution into the rest of the globe. So some of the telecom operators, for example, one of the operators they work with, they have a footprint in 30 countries, but they were only able to do business with Zapware in 3 countries in Europe. Now that we have taken control of Zapware and do not have the same restrictive covenants on them, we expect to see a very nice expansion there. And what we can do now is push the travel offerings, the in-game advertising offerings, the gaming solutions that we have. Essentially, everyone that's on a TV or on their phone, 50% of the world now are gamers. And there's been an inability to monetize free games. And on the phone here, Mark, with a couple of the other principals, Mark was Chief Technology Officer at Electronic Arts for a period. His other partners were founders of Epic Games China, did a lot of the work for Epic Games in the China studios. And they have developed this technology for in-game advertising that's a completely different approach than anyone else's. It's almost like the motion picture approach. And we think that technology is going to be widely adopted. It's tested extremely well. We've found gamer retentions come back, or the gamers come back to the game very well because they're rewarded with coupons from the brand. Their approach is very different to everyone else. I don't want to hog the microphone. Mark may be able to give a little more detail on there if you want a little bit more, Jason.
Well, I was switching it I was going to ask you on that white label version, if we showed that on Benzinga Travel, for example, how do we make money? What's like, is the affiliate ratio where you get like 15% of what the net, or is that not figured out yet because you're so new at this part of it? No,
you're in the ballpark. What happens, Mark, is there is, on average, and it depends on the product that you're selling, of course, airline tickets have very little to no margin in them, and cruise lines have probably some of the highest margin in them. And depending upon the product, what we generally do is a split where you keep 75% of the commission structure and we keep 25%.
Got it. Okay. And so this new part of the business that we're talking about with travel, like as you switch to this new symbol, is there a core revenue component? Because the travel is the newer part. Like, what is going to be the core that investors should look at, I guess?
Well, the core business of this is going to come back to the gaming and game advertising solutions that we have. They've got applications back into travel. So as a quick example on travel, before, we would go out and we would sell you a travel product. We would hope that you had a great vacation. When you came back, you wrote a glowing letter and thought of us the next time that you wanted to travel. With starting to integrate the in-game advertising solution that Mark has been a principal behind the development of, we can take what they were doing for gaming and modify it for travel so that we can track you, follow you around on the app. We can put coupons in front of you for discount restaurants that we think your profile fits with, for limousine services, for adventure type travel events that you want to do, helicopter rides, those kinds of things. And so what this merger is doing is it's starting to cover us from the beginning that we acquire you as a customer through your entire vacation and back when you get home again. And so that's sort of a 30,000 overview of how we've taken an in-game advertising solution and re-adopted it back into the travel business. But it's much more powerful in terms of even the gaming aspect of it, and the market's much larger in terms of the gaming side. As Richard mentioned, 1 out of 2 people on the planet are now gamers, so it's a pretty exciting area to be able to have this unique product in, and we should let Mark run you through how it works and why it's different than anything else that's out there.
You want to do that, Mark?
Sure, love to. So, for those familiar with in-game advertising, it has traditionally been kind of an overlay, annoying business. I get to play my game and then suddenly that gets interrupted and I have to watch a video for 30 seconds or, some kind of an overlay ad for the time, or click on something, or, test a mini game or whatever it is. I've got a 13-year-old and I know that she can put that phone down and pick it back up at 29.8 seconds. So that's essentially a wasted ad view. The rates that the advertisers have been paying for in-game advertising effectively reflects that. And there's been kind of a newer breed of in-game advertisers who have sort of had this, what I think is a silly premise, that because we have ads on bus shelters in the real world, we should have ads on bus shelters in video games. And while that adds to the kind of veracity and the feel of the game, when I'm in the real world and I'm waiting for a bus, I've got nothing to do but look at the ad. Whereas if I'm in a video game running around with people shooting at me, the last thing I'm going to do is to look at that bus shelter ad, right? So what we've created is an advertising platform that allows us to actually integrate into the game itself in a fungible way. So, imagine, E.T., forever is stuck with Smarties, but we have a platform that allows us to give E.T. a different candy depending on who's watching the movie, right? So if you happen to be, a chocolate guy and I happen to be a sours guy, my ads will be for sours, your ads will be for chocolate. And we also enable mechanisms like, typical scenario, I'm running in a first-person shooter game, someone's shooting me, I get hurt, I need to drink the power-up, right? For me, that power-up might be a can of Coke, for you, it might be a can of Pepsi. And so I use it, I drink, I have a positive brand impression because that's been my power-up, but also I now end up with a coupon in my wallet that allows me to get, 20 cents off a can of Coke at the 7-Eleven. And oh, by the way, when I walk into the 7-Eleven, if I buy a case of Coke, I actually get some reward back in the game. So we're also driving the traffic back into the game. So that's kind of what is very different about what we do. I did see a question from Angel Ramirez there in the comments, and yes, absolutely, all this stuff is built with new tech. It's all it's containerized. It's all built in Node, so this is not like a bunch of legacy text. This is all new tech that we've built to facilitate this functionality around the world. And with this merger, we are very excited to bring it to the Zapware platform, where we have direct contact with millions and millions of consumers in various markets, and access to the network operator sales forces to actually be able to get the couponing into the various retail chains around the world. And because we have this idea of the wallet, and the wallet allows us for what we call hyper-local advertising, it ties very nicely into the travel business, because we can literally pop up ads for you, whether it's in your game or just in your web experience, that pertain to where you are. And so if in your travel you happen to be the kind of person who likes adventure and there's a bungee jumping place nearby, we can surface that for you right into your video game or right into your newsfeed. If you happen to be more of an opera fan, we can offer you tickets for this evening's performance of La Traviata or whatever it is. So that's kind of how we fit all together.
And also, Jason, as Mark just touched upon, the hyperlocal advertising element of this solution too has incredible application in direct TV or streaming TV. If you think about it, an advertiser in San Diego doesn't need to be pushing his ads in Buenos Aires or in Sydney, Australia. And so that element is lost in direct or connected TV that used to be the biggest component of linear TV. And it's one of the reasons why Zapware was also, we were very excited to acquire Hotplay. Zapware was very excited to become a component of this, not only for the in-game advertising solution, but the hyper-local solution can be pushed into their system. So it goes back to the ecosystem of 50 million that Zapware has, that we're now pushing these additional and new technologies of revenue items, of high margin items into a well-established system that's already revenue generating and profitable. And it's the telecom operators and the digital companies that want these types of high demand consumer. And we think about it at the backside of the pandemic, travel, we all believe that there's real pent up demand. Gaming, doesn't matter whether it's a pandemic, a recession, gaming is on an incredible trajectory. And then we also have, digital currency, cryptocurrency elements to this business as well that we've recently acquired and building out.
I got it. I took my face off for a second. So, so the thing that I'm seeing at this company, you guys have a lot going on, like a lot of, not just a lot going on, but a lot of potential, a lot of different plays, which is awesome because it's diversified revenue. It's kind of like the same thing. I mean, in our media space, a lot of media sites just go for ad revenue. That's not what we do. We do a few different things. So my question is, it's like people are loving the story. How many people are on the team and how do you execute on all these different things that you're doing?
So on the team at this point in time, Jason, we have around 240 employees spread out across the globe. In terms of how we execute, what we do is we involve key principles from each of the divisions into the alternative division, so that what happens is if we see an opportunity, for example, in our banking division, we want to accelerate our programs and platforms to include cryptocurrency, the creation of new coins that we're doing. We adjusted so that the bank will be able to take the coins, hold the coins, do loans against the coins, do traditional mortgages that you would expect a bank to be able to do, and then integrate that back into NextTrip so that we have merchant services capabilities, and all of our consumers are offered the chance to have the NextTrip credit card. Going to give them discounted travel and added benefits, insurance programs, things like that as they're moving forward. So right across the board, every individual division has principles that sit on other divisions in order to make certain that we're utilizing the capabilities and opportunities and synergies of all the relevant businesses across each other and helping to drive each other's vision to greater revenues.
Yeah,
and board management and key affiliates at the end of these transactions, the NextPlay technology, almost 75% company is owned by board management or key affiliate investors that have been financing these technologies to pull them all together. I mean, this is a significant enterprise play, global solutions play in some very interesting verticals that can all feed into this ecosystem, which in itself, we're quite comfortable. It appears that it'll grow sixfold just in the ecosystem. We've mapped out a strategy where we think we can get the 50 million subscriber base to probably 300 million subscribers by the end of this year and continue to push these high interest products in there.
Got it. Okay. No, it sounds awesome. And one of the things that excites me about the company is that you're on a new technology system. You're not stuck to old line systems. You're containerized. And it's one of the things that Jeff Bezos did with his company when they were moving slow. They wanted teams not to be as big as basically a team can only be as big as it can consume 2 pizza boxes, and then have a containerized tech architecture so they can move a lot faster. And this is like about 15 years ago or 12 years ago, whatever it was, and then they started taking off. Sounds like you have like a lot of these animals and avenues that could be your hot thing, or some, you know, when the economy hits this, you're protected. So what I would say is I would love for you guys to come on again after the ticker switches over, and then maybe a month, or maybe, you know, late June, or late June, maybe early July, and give us an update of where you guys are at and where you're seeing the traction, because there's definitely a lot of interest in the company.
The combined companies, as soon as we close, which we think we're down to days at this point, we'll have some very interesting financial modeling. So timing to come back, and some positive progress with several of these divisions. I think we've got some good things to be talking to your constituents about.
Yeah, I mean, the gaming, there's a lot of plays here, and I know there's probably crypto and, you know, using the blockchain for that. Like, there's probably a lot of things we didn't even get to, but we'll leave that as a tease for future, I guess, you know?
Great.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you guys for coming on. We like seeing companies that not everyone necessarily has heard about and could be taken off, just and say, oh, they were. I mean, we had the Voyager CEO on, Steve Ehrlich, on this exact show. The stock was at 60 cents, and 6 months later, maybe a year later, $24, and raised over $400 million, all that stuff. So you never know where these go, but we appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day. Bill, Rich, Mark, thank you. And you can see this interview later on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Benzinga, or any of your brokerage terminals that you guys use. Usually our content's fed through those. Okay.
Thank you, Jason. Love your show. By the way, I've got my little Vuzix headset right here, so I was really enjoying your previous interview as well as I was waiting to jump in. So
how do you like it?
It's cool. It's very cool. This is one of their earliest models a couple of years ago now. But yeah, it's been a company I've been following. They're awesome.
Oh, I should have brought you on during it. That's awesome that you have it there. I was literally about to buy the one on Amazon. Then someone in the chat's like, "Why don't you do a thing where you know?" So I'm like, "All right, maybe we'll do that." So who knows? But all right, guys, thank you again, Bill, Mark, and Rich, for coming on. We'll be watching you guys. And you said next week the ticker could change over. Is that what it is?
Yeah, Bill, we're down to the final strokes, correct?
We really are. It's just putting together the last legal paperwork to do the exchange. Everything else is approved.
All right. So we got to make sure we get that note out there, or when you guys do it, send to Aaron or whatever, so we cover a news article on it so people are aware. Because, you know, smaller cap companies don't get the coverage because everyone just like Facebook, Google, and they don't. And that's why we started Benzinga, to give, you know, other people could get the word out about other companies. So that's it. So let us know when you do that. Okay.
We will. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys. See you later.
Thanks.
All right. Yep. All right, guys. So, all right. That was, this MKGI, but it's switching, as you guys know, tickers. We went to NXTP, as you guys know, and we went from, Vuzix to this one to NXTP. And a lot of cool stuff they have. I don't know. Maybe we're starting Benzinga Travel. We get a decent amount of traffic for people looking for travel. A lot of investors are using our site, looking for things to go on vacation. Who knows? So I don't know. This could be a fit there. And I know coming up, there's going to be, you're going to be able to see live trading with David Green and see his screen. So I think that should be exciting. And let me just put that little message from Happy Muhammad. I love it. Thank you. So, but prior to that, there's been a lot of questions about my account and my different trades. And so I guess I don't have time to share my screen. I'll share my screen tomorrow. I sold off a lot of my weaker plays in the last 2 weeks. So, how I use margin, guys, and usually I'm like 150, 200K, let's say margin. I'm down to I'm down to 50K in margin, which probably is, I should probably be on more margin knowing the market's up today. But there's also FGF. Look at FGF, Aaron. That's, yeah. So, I've been giving these stock picks for I don't know how long. But I believe we are going to have the chairman behind them on the Raz report. If not this Thursday, we're going to have it early next week. So, and there's another public company here that I haven't even said. So FGF, BTN, similar management, but there's also a third company that I haven't shared that has taken off even more. And I'm not going to share because I want you guys to be there for the show. So we're going to have the chairman on, Kyle Seminara, so on the Raz report. And I think it should be exciting. Very smart guy. I'll leave the rest to the interview because there's some things that you'll just will be cool. Trust me. You guys know my last Raz reports were Kathy Wood, Kevin O'Leary, and Dave Portnoy. And we're going to start doing these weekly. If you like the Raz report idea, if you like the show idea, I'll do more of them, and I'll bring on the biggest names that can move markets. But what I ask of you guys is go to the Apple iTunes store, leave a review, hopefully positive, and hopefully I'm just asking, and then I'll work on getting more of these interviews done. If we can get some exciting, reviews and get, ranked better, then I'll get more of these interviews. They take a lot out of it. We also had Gene Munster because there's a lot of editing, a lot of graphics, but you guys just tell me who you want, and that's includes Elon Musk or whoever. I think David Einhorn we're going to get on. David Einhorn. I reached out to Stevie Cohen last night. Let's see if Steve Cohen. Let's see if he wrote back. I wrote to him last night. Do I have him? I'm in the wrong Twitter account. I'm in the Benzinga Twitter account. I got to go to Jason. So I'm in Jason's account. I didn't hear back from Steve Cohen yet. Didn't hear back from him yet, but hopefully we will soon. And we'll get him on too. So the CEO of KMPH, we can bring him on, but then, I need you to come help interview VS because KPMH better than I do. That's the thing. If you guys want me to bring on like Chamath or any of these guys, and if you know the stocks way better than I do, I want you to come on as a guest interviewer for the show, because one of the things that holds these back is I have to do the research, and I will do the research. But if you're an expert on it, I would rather have someone come on and ask some of the questions too, or I guess you can just feed me questions if you're too shy. But all right, we have David Green live trading with him 2 p.m. Again, what I would like you guys to do is go to E-Trade or go to any of your brokerages, Robinhood, and say, we want more Benzinga news. Send an email to powerhour@benzinga.com with a screenshot, and we will send you swag. Give your size, give your address. Again, send an image to Yahoo, to any online brokerage, to Merrill Lynch, whoever it is. Say, we would like Benzinga news. Send a screenshot to powerhour@benzinga.com, and we'd greatly appreciate it. ZingerNation is all of us. It's not me. It's not one entity. It's all of us. And to get us to spread, we need you guys. There's 400 people here right now. We need 300 to be 400 helping us out. If 150 of you guys helped us out, we would be happy to send you a bunch of swag. And we're ordering a lot more. So we're going to send out a lot more. We're getting new shirts, new things to send out, and we're going to send it out from the office. So thank you, Jamie. Please subscribe to the channel. Go to our Twitter. It's Benzinga. I'm Jason Raznick on Twitter. I don't know why they don't put the banner thing. Let's see. I think there's a banner for my Twitter account. Let's see if I can find it. I see Luke's banner, but where is Raznick's banner? Oh, there it is. Oh yeah, he beat me to it. Whoever did that. Okay. So yeah, we like to gain family members. And if you're ever looking for a full-time role and you're a developer or what have you, we're launching the Bounty site tomorrow. If you do business development, you can take over our Twitter and you think you can make it better. I like for pithy, smart tweets, not just links to our articles. When people see our Twitter, I want them to be inspired, I want them to be smarter, or want to give them a laugh. One of those three things. If you think you can do it better than us, hit me up at powerhour@benzinga.com, send 10 samples, or show your Twitter account with a huge following. And we have full-time roles to hire. I try to just hire from the community now. I don't like to put up job ads. We have a ton of job ads up, but pretty much it's very hard to get a job with us through job ads. It has to be, the community who's passionate. That's who we, make a movement with. So, all right, guys, thank you so much, Sajid. I see your comment there. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Yeah, we need it. Guerrilla marketing. If you send an email to any of the brokerage, Merrill Lynch, anyone, let them know, Robinhood, E-Trade, that you would like Benzinga news in their system, and send us a screenshot to powerhour@benzinga.com, and we'll be sure to send you swag. If you already have it and you want one for your kid or a brother, feel free. We got jackets, and we have a new t-shirt that we're designing right now that'll be coming out next week. All right. Yes, we hire for work from home. Mr. Future History, where else would we hire from? From work from the zoo? I don't know. You mean the office? Well, I don't know if you've been around the last year and a half, and I'm just joking, I'm being sarcastic, but the last year and a half, man, it's been WFH. And we don't hire for work. We're not hiring people for a paycheck. We're hiring people to be builders and creators. If you dread the word work or your job, we want you to be more excited about Monday than you are about Friday. That's the kind of place we want. And if you're not into that, then, yeah, don't worry about it. Peace, we're already on TOS, but if you want to send a note to TOS and just say you love your Benzinga news, sure. But what I would rather you do, like out of the country. Yes, anywhere, man. Doesn't matter where you are. Jesus. What I'd want you to do is, even if you don't have an account with another brokerage, maybe still send them a message that you wish that they had our news. Okay, you can go to their website and get different brokerages. So I'm moving this out, Aaron. All right, guys, thank you. Those are Dennis Rodman shoes, by the way, right there. Real Championship, 1990. John Sally's right there. If you look up my mouse, it probably is not showing, so I guess I can't point it out. Anna Korakova tennis ball. And when I was in high school, I was too lazy. It was a Saturday during the summer. I was too lazy to wake up at 8 a.m. to go get her to take a photo with me. I already had the signed ball, and I meant to go get a photo with her, and I just didn't wake up to go do it. And that's that. So, yeah, show them what we can do. Where do you want to send you the screenshot? powerhour@benzinga.com. All right, I'm out. I'm ending the broadcast, I think, right? Yep.